thank you for being here and congratulations for your movie and being here in Cannes.
Thank you.
Um, you were born in 1989 in Moscow, that's right.
Yeah.
In 2013, you received a jury award at the New Orleans Film Festival for your student short film, and you also qualified for many other film festivals internationally. But we are here today to talk about your new film, How to Save a Dead Friend.
So, in a nutshell, this is a story about a young girl who didn't want to live, but then she meets a boy, and he saves her. He helps her to get over and go on with her life, and they start to live together, and they become husband and wife. But eventually, neither this boy nor a girl could save this boy. And yeah, it's my personal story that was shot for 12 years. And yeah, it's a film that I made out of love for someone I couldn't save, Kimi. He was my boyfriend, my husband, yeah,
Okay.
best friend.
2005 году мне было 16, и я была уверена, что это последний год моей жизни.
Хочешь попробовать?
Но потом на Гранж-форуме я встретила Кими.
Кирилл, скажите, эти съемки трудно вам дались?
Тимми, ты чувствуешь себя строителем социальной ячейки?
Ты не снимаешь?
Нет, серьезно, надо придумать.
Ну да.
Так бывает. Двигайтесь на путь.
Охренительно.
Не грусти, Кимя. Мы выдержим.
In the Q&A, you said that in the process of making and editing the movie, you struggled with making the difference between you as yourself and you as a character of your story. And can you explain in what ways it was difficult and how you overcame this issue?
I'm not used to think of me as a character in the film, and I'm also usually the person behind the camera, so I'm not really, not really fond, to play a role or, to be in the film about me. But we realized that I should be in the film to be able to tell the story. Yeah, you have to think of yourself as it's not you, it's someone else. Yeah, it was hard to have this distance at first. But then I kind of, I made peace with it. I think I'm fine. I'm not I know that there's parts where I act not in best way, or being not the nicest person, but I'm fine with it. I also thought that if I'm telling so much about Kimi, it just makes so much sense to tell about me. So it's not just one-sided.
It is a very private and hard part of your life that you show in the story. And did you ever have doubts about sharing it to the world while you were editing it? And did you ever wanted to withdraw and just keep it to yourself?
I mean, that's what I did for so many years. I kept it to myself, and it was eating me up in a way, and it was really hard. I was always in this story and everything that happened to me in my depression that I didn't verbalize and didn't tell anybody about it. So I thought that, okay, I'm just gonna tell my story, tell Kimi's story from my perspective.
And so, as you said, you filmed the movie in a period of 12 years. Did the purpose of making this movie change during the years, like your motivation for doing it from the beginning to the end?
Well, everything I shot, I didn't really, thought it would be for the film, since I was very depressed teenager, and I didn't know what was happening to me. I didn't know I had this depression. I thought this is, just how the world feels. So I didn't know how to tell people around me what was happening to me. And I think I used camera as, the communication tool. So I had a lot of footage in the end from my life. And after a couple of years, after Kimi passed away, I rewatched all that footage and I saw that there is a film there.
So, watching the film, I felt like Russia and its government had a major role and maybe played the biggest part in the state of your mental health and the one of those around you. Can you explain how this film is also about Russia and the years 2000s? You talked about isolation and division, and also that you felt like a silent generation. Can you develop?
Or, all the social, political things that happen in Russia. Maybe not all of them, but some of them definitely affected us. And an inability to get access to mental health, to be properly diagnosed, to, this kind of isolation and also aggression around us that I wanted to show through, the protests and riots. Um, all of that affected the story, definitely. And this feeling when you think that you cannot change anything, you don't really see future in a way.
Like, when I watched the movie, I was really surprised with how drugs and alcohol are totally normalized, and even though they are illegal, it feels like everybody's doing it, and the people, the family around you isn't surprised by it. Did you feel like it is part of the isolation and the division, and did you ever felt this difference with the other countries that you've been in?
I don't really know. I mean, the reason why I did drugs was because I had all these feelings I couldn't process, undiagnosed depression, and I was self-medicating, trying to not feel for at least some time what I felt. And I think Kimi did too. And I mean, I'm not sure it's normalized, that it's a pretty common problem. I think not only in Russia, and also Russian legislation is very strict with narcotic cases, and you can go to jail for many years just for possession of, a couple of grams of, I don't know, hash. It's very also like repressive, and it doesn't help, anybody actually. I think there's a lot of stigmatization of people who do drugs, and also people with mental illnesses. And there's also a really strong self-stigmatization among people who do drugs, because sometimes, you feel like you're just not worth anything. Yeah.
Was the film scary to share with what's happening right now in Russia, and also all you do in this film that's very personal?
Well, I think things that happens now with Russia and with the, by Russia is much more scary than things we see in the film. It's really terrible. No, I think I wasn't. I was prepared to share the story from the very start. I thought that I'm either doing it or I'm not, and I said, okay, I'm doing it. yeah, I think it's actually very liberating, you know, to tell my story and to tell Kimi's story.
Why do you think it is important to see your movie with all the political events that are happening right now? And because you fled your country in March.
Well, maybe I'm gonna say not only about, you know, the political side, but I think it's not a unique story, unfortunately, in a way, because a lot of people, I guess, have depression and mental illnesses, and a lot of people lose their loved ones. So I hope that the audiences will see that I tried to save Kimi's memory, because I think that you're not gone while people remember you. Yeah, I mean, I wish Kimi was alive. I mean, there would be no film, of course, but if he knew that we're here with him in Cannes, yeah, that would be great. Yeah, you know, so many people came to me after the screenings and they were telling me that I went through the same, or now I understand my friends who went through the same better. And it means so much to me because, you know, while I was growing up, I felt very isolated because I felt really bad and I didn't know how to express it, and people around me never understood me except for Kimi. So now I feel like, you know, I'm less alone, and maybe people who watch it would feel the same, that they're maybe less alone, because depression is very isolating.
It's a technical question.
Yeah.
In the movie. I didn't know what it was. I didn't understand when I first saw it, but you use, I think, Voices application. I feel like it's very symbolic when I heard about it. How did you discover it? Can you explain it, what it is?
Absolutely, it's a wonderful app that was created by Ryan McGee. While I was working on the film, I thought that I really want to, you know, to make music out of Kimi, and I thought, well, how can I do it? And I thought about, you know, different sonification techniques. Sonification is this process when basically the image transfers into sound. So I started researching, and I found this app. It was just for photos, but I contacted Ryan, and he was really excited about the project, and I was really lucky that he was excited and decided to, you know, to keep working on the app to help to build it for, you know, for the film. And the idea was that, you know, I'm using an iPad and I'm touching on the screen with Kimi, and I'm touching him with my hands, and the like the music is coming from these touches. And I thought it's very, you know, a poetic thing. You know, I'm touching him from a distance, and also he turns into music, like, you know, how, you know, what happens when you die. I don't know, you turn into music, I guess. For me at least. The harmony we hear is the same harmony from Love Will Tear Us Apart, actually, but very slower. Also, Kimi reading his letter to me, and I thought of it as, you know, lyrics to this music.
Okay. I found it very beautiful when I saw it. So,
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for this talk.
It was
It's
very
been a
good.
pleasure.